Nice.
We both got noisy dogs. It's all good.
And welcome to the latest and greatest from Step Brother Sports, part of the Hockey Podcast Network and the Bills Mafia Buffalo fan base platform. We are brought to you by, as always, by Rich Brow Brewing, located at 5 South 20th Street, Richmond's premier Buffalo Bills backers bar. And I had a chance to go visit those guys not too long ago. We had Jerry Ostrowski on, and I was able to be live in location with Chris Maz, and it was quite an amazing time. But tonight, we are very, incredibly, I would say, excited to welcome a special guest whose work has helped define really how sports stories are told, both here in Buffalo, Western New York, and on the national stage. She's a proud St. John Fisher University graduate, a 2021 Buffalo Business First 40 under 40 honoree, and a true creative force behind some of the most iconic football storytelling of the last decade. She spent 10 years, a full decade at NFL Films as a producer, earning not one, not two, but 3 Sports Emmy Awards along the way for her work on shows like Inside the NFL, Sound FX, and Hard Knocks, projects that didn't just capture the game, but really the heartbeat behind it. Bills fans especially know her impact as a producer on the Emmy-nominated ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, Four Falls of Buffalo, a film that told one of the most emotional and defining chapters in sports history with honesty, empathy, and heart. She has overseen off-field and off-ice original content for both our beloved Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres, serving as a showrunner, producer, and director for Embedded, Buffalo Sabres Embedded, Beyond Blue and Gold, and of course Beyond Blue and Blue and Red and Blue and Gold. Her storytelling brings fans closer than ever, inside locker rooms, behind the scenes, and into the moments that really define what it means to wear red, white, blue, and gold. And with an astounding 31, count them, 31 Emmy Awards to her name, she is one of the most accomplished storytellers in sports media today and currently serves as the supervising producer for the Buffalo Sabres. We are honored to have her with us. Please join us in welcoming the one and only Michelle Girardi, Zumwalt. Michelle, how are you?
Wow, after that, that's pretty cool. I've been in hockey too long though. I can't take the praise. That was very nice of you. Thank you.
Oh, our pleasure. Our pleasure. Like I said, I have a high bar. A high bar is set each and every week when we have a new guest on by Chris Maz, who obviously, as the viewers can see, is not with us today. He has some unforeseen family business to take care of, but we're joined by our regular fill-in guest, Carl Eppers. Carl, how you doing, bud?
Good, man. Good. Happy to be here, and yeah, absolute pleasure to have you on, Michelle.
It's great to be here. Nice to meet you, Carl.
Awesome. Well, we want to get into it. So, Michelle, anytime we have a guest for the first time on the program, like I was alluding to, we always like to go into their backgrounds, favorite sports memories, things of that nature. So first, if you can, tell us, what are some of your fondest sports memories? And, being that you have clearly such a decorated career working in professional sports now, when did you know you wanted to pursue a career working in the sports media arena? And what are the origins that ultimately led you down your career path?
Okay, that's a lot of questions all rolled up into one.
You can break it down if you want.
Yeah, so I think, my love for sports started probably like a lot of people at my age who grew up in Buffalo with the Bills, making the Super Bowls in the early 90s. I think, as far as specific memories of that time, for me, it was the community aspect of it, which is something that I've kind of brought into my career and like kind of built my career around, is the idea of like the fandom and the camaraderie of that and the attachment and the connection between the fans and the team. So, when I think of the early 90s Bills, I think of my whole neighborhood getting together to watch games and like rotating between people's houses and everyone getting together and the parents going crazy and the dads dogpiling in the living room and it being such like a community event and everyone was so excited excited. And, I was 8 years old in 1990. So as far as I knew, like the Bills were always going to be good. And it was always this exciting, and they'd always make the Super Bowl. And Jim Kelly, the quarterback is always amazing. And so it was just sort of this magical time, I think, combining childhood with that Super Bowl run that sort of developed my love for sports. And then the Sabres, made the Cup final in 1999 when I was a junior in high school, and Don Pashik and Michael Pekka in those years were super exciting. And then I moved away from Buffalo after college and really found my connection back home and kind of with myself through sports by joining the New York City Buffalo Bills backers and becoming part of that group. And then when I moved to Philly a year later for the 05-06 season, for the Sabres, finding a group there that I'm still very close with, that we still have a group text 20 years later, where we would watch the Sabres games together. So for me, sports is kind of about that community and that connection with the fans.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And also, when we have a first-time guest on, I like to do, we call it Shawnee V's degrees of separation connection, if you will. So I had a couple things to share with you. So one, my uncle actually worked for a major sports outlet like yourself. He worked at ESPN in the late 80s. And then, funny enough, Sabres connection, he left ESPN to come to Buffalo and start Empire Sports, which is when I was a kid, that's where the games were on. Obviously, Rick Jeanneret, Jim Lorenz. There was Hockey Hotline and Mike Robitaille and the guys that did like the in-between periods, before and post-game shows. So there was that. The 05-06, which obviously we're going to talk a little bit about that later. That was, I believe, that would have been my senior year of high school. And similar to what you were kind of talking about, the gathering, being such an amazing team. I believe that, I might have been junior year or senior. I graduated in 06. So probably my senior year. Because it's been a winter of that year. Like going out, these guys were 17, 18 years old, going out to watch literally every Sabres game religiously out at Page's Paradise Island. I don't know if you're familiar, but in DPU, I'm a DPU grad. We go and watch the games, and that was literally must-see TV. Our whole friend group would get together and watch that President's Trophy team. So we grew up with that. So it's near and dear to my heart. But I wanted to tell you this. I know Carl asked some questions about the day in the life, and I definitely want to get into some Bills and Sabres current event items later on. But I feel like we would really be doing a huge disservice to our audience to have you on and not talk a little bit about some work stuff. So, Carl, take it away.
Yeah, and I live downstate, and as well, I live in the New York City area. Sounds like you've been bouncing around a bit. So unrelated to the question, but it's definitely awesome to be a Buffalo fan and live somewhere else and see other people that are Buffalo fans, go to the bars. Now that I'm kind of like ingratiated more with the Westchester area, there's an incredible amount of people that are like, hey, that's the only, New York team. Like, they're not really even Bills fans, but it's like such a warm and welcoming kind of like byproduct of our fandom. So I'm sure you can definitely resonate with that. But yeah, I know I was really excited to chat with you, Michelle, because it's such an interesting role that you have. And there's obviously all the accolades that Sean started off with, that, all the gloves, like you have tons of great titles, you got tons of great accomplishments. I'm always curious, like, what does that day to day look like, and how are you managing that from like almost a company perspective? So when I watch the videos, I always wonder, like, what is your job and what is the target audience? Are you trying to collect new fans? Are you maintaining the current fan base? Like what's the consideration? And when you're making those videos, like, who are you thinking you're making it for? Like, if you're thinking about a different company, no matter what service they are, they're obviously trying to like get new clients or retain clients. Like, I guess, how do you think about it when you're making these videos, and who your target audience is?
Yeah, I mean, I think depends project to project and day to day. So my department is the video department. There's 7 of us, including our intern, who are, covering all the games, all the practices, all the morning skate, doing all the media and the live streams, but also doing embedded and, we mentioned Beyond Blue and Gold and hype videos and butter dish infomercials and everything. We do everything, all the videoing, except for like a couple of the social media videos, which is part of the social media team. So we work very closely with the social media team, the content team, which includes people like Jordan LaBarber that I'm sure you guys know of, who cover the team, our social media, or our director of content, and then our VP of content and, production, which is like broadcasting, game presentation. And we all meet daily and talk daily about what are we doing? What are we trying to hit? So, I don't know, take last week as an example. Biz was in town. We've got some shaky history with Biz, but he brings a big national or international, if you want to look at it, audience with him. So he wanted to embrace us. So we're going to embrace him back. And so when we're doing content with him, we're thinking about bringing in new fans, getting new eyeballs on the Sabres for, people to think this team is cool to follow. This is funny. Like, let's see what the Sabres are up to. And it just so happened that it was a great game for us. We've been on this heater lately. So, that was very cool. And that was more about like bringing in new fans. The next night we have 0506 night. In that case, I'm going right for the heart of the people who were watching those teams, whether they were kids or in their 20s like me or older, everybody who related to those teams. The content that night is about, getting right in your feels, playing on the nostalgia, bringing parallels of this team to that team. So looking at how, that team, if they were coming out of the lockout, nobody thought they were going to be any good. Arena was half full in September, which actually it shocks me that that's true considering it was coming out of the lockout. I didn't live here that year, but that's crazy to me. But the arena being half full, and then by December it was like, you're begging people to get tickets. So it's like kind of an eerie parallel 20 years later, maybe not eerie, maybe a fun parallel. Yeah. So you're trying to get the real hardcore Sabres fans there, and at the same time, our daily coverage, we're trying to think of ways to reach beyond just our typical fan base on social media. The memes that you see after, when we win and stuff, and the way we're trying to capitalize on, big goals. If Tage Thompson has a big game, like we'll try to get like a highlight video or something out, because we want other fans or other hockey fans to see like, wow, we want to see what the Sabres are up to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that must be so fun for you. I half joke with people that I peaked when the Sabres were good in those years. Like that was kind of like the best moments of my life. That was when Carl was at his absolute top. But what's more fun for you? I'm kind of going off script here, but like, do you have a bigger passion for maybe some of those retention type videos because that strikes a chord with you, or do you find yourself enjoying some of that?
It's hard to, I mean, I love it all. And what I love about it is that it's not the same thing over and over again. So I referenced the butter dish video. I assume you guys saw like when we did the butter dish giveaway at Thanksgiving, we did an infomercial with Bo Byram and Ryan McLeod. That was super fun. I got to write the script for that and direct it. And it's like, just like totally wacky, stuff to do. And then the next day to do something more serious where you're, I don't know, featuring like Hockey Fights Cancer, and telling a story about a cancer patient who has overcome and relating her story to, the team and the community. So I love being able to do both those things. And I love doing the short-term projects where you can like quickly come together and say, what can we do here? Okay, let's execute on it. Let's go. And then now I got this Dominic Hasek documentary that is open on my other monitor right here because I've been working kind of round the clock on it for the past couple of weeks in the midst of all this other stuff. And then I get to tell that's going to be a feature-length 90-minute documentary, which I have not tried since 10 years ago, coming to the Bills and Sabres, doing something that long, and getting to do that long form storytelling and really like dive into something and really, put a lot of time and effort into it. So.
Super interesting. Yeah. It's gotta be an interesting like wave to ride because you're creating content and it can't be all like Hockey Fights Cancer. And it also can't all be like, people doing silly stuff in the locker room. Is you have to kind of like bridge that gap and make a good balance for everybody. So that's pretty neat.
We do it all.
You do it all.
It's fun. Yeah. And so I say we, like meaning it, we, like our team is so amazing and talented and they work so hard and, on the road constantly. Like I don't travel with the team unless there's like a special occasion, like going to Prague, or like last year we traveled for the trade deadline for Embedded. But like these people, my crew and our crew is on the road with the team, coming back, dumping footage, then covering a practice, like getting back into home games, also working on like a long form edit, like an Embedded, and just like grinding. So they're amazing.
Yeah, well, it's got to be an awfully coveted position and department in Buffalo sports and for the whole city of Buffalo. Like those are 7 people doing very cool things for what's like a very strong hockey culture.
Thank you. I hope they all agree. I think
Yeah,
they do.
I'm sure they do. It's very cool what they're doing. I definitely admire it. And thinking about, I have a day job. We have departments. You have your video department. You're also engaging with like maybe the departments that us as fans are seeing, the hockey ops, the coaching, the players. Like ultimately, they're kind of like in different departments. They're producing the on ice experience and everything, and the deliverables there. What is that engagement like? Do you look at them and you're like, those are my colleagues, or are you kind of looking at them like just from behind the lens? I guess I'm putting some assumptions and options out there, but what's that engagement like on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, yeah, they are colleagues, and they're all great. I mean, obviously, the coaches are the coaches, and like there's a respect there, and I'm not going up and like walking into Lindy's office like, hey, did you see that episode of whatever last night? Like that's not I mean, he might be cool with that. I don't know, I never tried, but like you see him in the hallways and you're saying hi, and how's your family, all that kind of stuff. And the same thing with the front office. Obviously we've had some turnover there, so you're getting to know some, developing some new relationships now. But
Sure.
with the guys who are still there that I've known for years, like they're great, and they're when we are on the road or working hard long nights, covering the draft or something, making sure we're eating and asking us how we're doing and if they can do anything to help. Like it's a nice relationship. It's we respect what they do, and we the most important thing we can have with them is their trust. So,
Right.
We stay out of their way when we can. We try not to ask for too much. We try to ask for exactly what we think we need. And we don't want to burn them in any way or give them any reason not to want us around. And so, I've been lucky, in my years of the Sabres, that's been great and not an issue. And so they've been very welcoming and great.
Yeah. To that point, real quick, as a quick follow-up from Carl's question, I wonder, you talk about that trust, and with you being, having the career that you've had, obviously as an expert and being so good at it, like the Kevin Adams of the world now, the Jarmo Kekalainens and Lindy Ruff, when you're producing content, is there ever a situation where they like might get final cut on things?
They get final approval for sure. Yeah.
Final approval. Yeah.
Yeah. It depends what it is. Like, I wouldn't say Lindy watches everything that he appears in or anything, but the PR department watches everything. And honestly, I prefer it that way. I don't want to put something out that then would be like, oh my God, why did you put that out? That totally screws up our plans for whatever. Or, to me, the more eyes in the organization, the better on things. And that's not to say that we're necessarily trying to manipulate or anything. It's just more like, when you're shooting, you never know when, oh my God, we didn't realize that this whiteboard had whatever on it. And, you want someone to catch that. You don't want that to get out. And I don't want,
they know our system.
Yeah. Or somebody says something and, maybe they didn't realize it at the time when they said it to me, but later on when they see the interview, they're like, you know what, actually that might offend someone if that gets out there. I don't know. Yeah. I can't give like a specific example right now, obviously, because the things that cut out, we don't talk about. Yeah. But we want to make sure that my job or our job is to sell the brand and to put the organization in the best light possible. And by doing that, getting our fans to buy in more and want to buy tickets and merchandise and feel a connection to the team. So everything that comes out, we're not going to deliberately make our team look bad or do things that we think could harm our competitive advantage in any way.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to give them headaches. I mean, they got to go out there and produce. Yeah. They have to have a good night's sleep the night before. They can't be thinking about, their hair look weird.
It should be as seamless as possible having us in there. They know that they can say whatever they want to say in front of us. They're not watching their words. And then they know that we're not going to put anything out that's going to bite them in the butt or screw them over in some way. So I want our team to be seen as, blending into the wall and like you don't even notice we're there. And then when you see the final product, you're like, hey, this is actually great. This makes us look great. That's the goal. And it's, there's very rarely things that are taken out. Sometimes there might be a joke, I don't know, say about like a player on another team that's like meant lighthearted, but it's like, okay, let's not use that just in case it gives them a feel. And sometimes you take stuff out that you're like, it'd probably be fine, but better safe than sorry.
Ryan O'Reilly mic'd up last night at the end of the game. Trying to kill Peyton Krebs.
That was getting pretty spicy.
Yeah, man.
It was.
That was a good game.
It's funny because I know Ryan O'Reilly as like I know his parents and stuff because when he was here, we did a couple of videos with him. Like he performed his original music for us in Nashville, and so I like see this totally other side to these guys. That's actually my first Emmy with the Sabres was for him. His story of going to the All-Star game that year and then like performing his music and recording it in the Pagula's Black River Entertainment studio down there. So it's like his mom Bonnie is just the best, and so it's when I see them, you know, getting scrappy on their other side, it's like what's going on?
Or that sweetheart playing the guitar.
Yeah, come on. It's all part of the game.
It's so fun. I love it. I mean, any cool stories? Any like moments like that where you had a relationship with a guy and then, you know, you see him in a game or you see him just walking around the grocery store, something like that, and you get to say hello to him. Any fun kind of
yeah, I mean that definitely happens, especially in a small town like Buffalo. And I live in like the Clarence area, you know, East Amherst East. So you're always running into guys. But sometimes it depends who it is too, because it can be like an out of context thing where it's like you don't want to approach them unless they really, really know you. Because like, you know, they might like sort of, but then you see then you're like, it takes them a second to like, okay, we're in Wegmans right now, but that's actually Michelle from work, like not a crazy fan, you know, it like, it might take a second. I used to run into Carter Hutton at Shazan. He got his hair cut there. So he and my mom would run into him when we go there to get our nails done or whatever. But yeah, like as far as like, I don't know, it's just fun. Like you do get to know guys like Jason Pominville is a great example. He was here, you know, played his 1,000th game when he came back to Buffalo. You know, what was it, 8 years ago now? And then he was back the other night for 0506 night. And so it's cool to see him again and kind of, you know, catch up a little bit, you know, having a relationship with him previously.
So are you on that whole night? Are you like making sure everything's going seamlessly, or is there a point in 0506 night where you can kind of like take a step back, let your hair down, say hi to people, like enjoy yourself a little bit? Or is that just like you're just on it the entire night?
So that night I'm on. I was, you know, big in the planning of that night, and not to take credit for myself. That was a huge team effort. I was a tiny part of it, but I was very passionate about that night. I'll give Jordan LaBarber credit. He actually kind of like chaired that night and did a lot of the planning and the legwork into making that night what it was. So yeah, I'm like, but I'm also producing an embedded episode because spoiler alert, I guess we're gonna do an embedded about the whole night and the guys coming back and everything. So
sweet.
So yeah, so I'm trying to like, nice. And you might have seen Sabres Live today. They had a round table of some of the alums who were back. They did like a special Sabres Live instead of Marty and Duffer doing their usual show. So nice. I was producing, you know, not helping. I shouldn't say producing. I was helping out with that, and then we were running to do embedded, and then trying to make sure the ceremony goes off without a hitch. You know, the Danny Briere video, making sure that that's playing well, that all the alums are where they're supposed to be, and obviously the skating added a whole extra layer to the evening.
That was a nice touch, though. I did like that a lot.
Yeah, that was not my idea, but a very cool idea. You know, Matt Gold, who's been he's the Better Days guy. He's the one who produced that video back in the day. So he's continuing his epic run of having great ideas that the fans resonate with. So yeah, so it was a big night, and then you know there was a Hall of Fame announcement happening that night, and we're just coordinating everything and making sure it all goes off. So it was a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
And you did it. It was a lot of
We did it. Yay. Yeah. I rolled in at 2 a.m. or whatever.
You struck the chord like you talked about with us, our high school age kids from that team. I did want to ask you, I have a couple questions about 0506 night specifically, but there always seems to be kind of this, I think, so I hear quite a bit, like this chatter in the NHL about coaches, players, and other teams, you know, how they view Buffalo specifically. You know, more than a dozen years with a playoff drought will do that, you know, understandably so. So do you have any sense of that you might, you know, speaking with other organizations, like peers in the job, and how has it changed, especially with this season's the GM change, and now suddenly the seeming like success that the Sabres are a playoff team? Do you kind of feel that like that culture is starting to change a little bit and the team getting some confidence?
I mean, the team is so much fun to be around right now. I mean, I don't even like that. That's the main thing. Like the atmosphere is awesome. It feels like other fans, like I was mentioning like the Biz thing last week. It feels like other fans and people on social are noticing and like
Yeah.
gravitating more to our work, and to the team in general. So it's been a blast. I can't speak for sure of like what the perception of the Sabres is outside of Buffalo, but I'll tell you, like in the offices and around with the people that I'm talking to, family members who are texting me like, "Oh my God, this is amazing! Like, thank God we have the Sabres." Everyone's just
Right.
super super excited, and it's been a lot of.
That's so cool.
Absolutely. So yeah, I
And
want to
guess
talk.
sorry, Sean. I just
no.
want to dovetail off that one a little bit. And
Yeah.
I hate hopefully I'm not going back and just like talking about your day job too much or like the ins and out here. But I'm curious,
It's my life. It's my like. It's not even just a career. It's a lifestyle to do
yeah, it's
this.
just my
So it's
lifestyle.
like all I do.
Okay. Well, I shouldn't feel too bad. But like
Yeah.
are like is that ever an audience? Or is there ever like a piece in there where you guys are thinking like, hey, maybe we should like be communicating to other players or coaches like what a great place this is to maybe like impact some of the
Right.
ability to draw free agents or things
Right.
like that. Is there ever like a project like that, or maybe a piece of it is like, hey, maybe we should talk to like some of the other members of the hockey community that are like the more on ice players and coaches.
I mean, I think the overall goal is to be a first class organization and like,
Right.
and as for our group particularly to be like best in class and the gold standard. And, whether or not that draws in players or coaches specifically, I don't know. That's not really the goal. The goal is just to be the best that we can be. And we want people to look at, all I can control is the content. And so we want people to look at Buffalo Sabres content and say, this is some of the best content in the NHL. And not everything is going to be the absolute best or the absolute pinnacle, but like our goal every time we make something is let's make this quality. Let's make this really good. Let's not just do it to do it. We really put our heart and soul into things and, hours and hours of work. Like I'm sitting here captioning a documentary right now. I'm trying to caption, like subtitle what Dominic Hasek is saying. And like, I'm poring over every word.
Right.
Yeah. And then I do my Dominic Hasek impression while I'm doing it. And I'm poring over every word. And I'm like, should I help him here with his English? No, it's like, I'm just constantly like looking at everything and analyzing like, how could this be better? Well, how can we do this better? And so is the rest of the team as well. And, I'll give a shout out to Andy Quinn, who's our director of video production. And we work, in tandem leading this video team. And we're both very passionate about, being the best that we can be. And it's not about like winning Emmys per se. I mean, that's fun, but it's about putting work out there that, people are sharing because they really love it and really respect it. So
nice.
I think that's really what the goal is overall.
Oh, absolutely. And you guys do obviously do an amazing job. So I did have two questions for you as far as like the actual recent productions. I definitely want to talk the Hashtag movie in a second, but going back to the 0506 night, I really wanted to, personally be there. Couldn't do it just because of work and traveling and things like that, but definitely watched it on MSG. You had 18 former players from that team returned. Definitely the most successful team of, I would say, the last 20 years that we grew up watching. And you just really, I think even from like watching it on TV, you could kind of feel that emotionally charged, like electricity in the building. You talked about it earlier. You have Pominville and Vanning being announced to the Sabres Hall of Fame. I think that's going to be next year, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm sure there's just an enormous amount of planning like behind the scenes. So, for the production of the night, from you talked about coordinating with the alumni to setting up the Briere video, the storytelling, and just the visuals. How does that all kind of work? How long did it take to kind of plan that all out? When, how long do you start to, I guess, plan that out? And then how do you maybe balance honoring that era's authentically while still realizing that you have to, resonate with the like today's kids and fans that weren't even around in 0506?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when we started meeting about that night, but at some point, probably last season, we said, hey, next year is the 20th anniversary of 0506. And so, we're going to have to figure out how we're celebrating that. And then, it evolved into, okay, well, is there a Hall of Fame component to it, and who would get in the Hall of Fame, and and then is that a separate thing or is it tied to that night? And then you just kind of, as you're meeting throughout the months, starting way back early in last off season, thinking about what can we do to make this night special? And, how could we get, maybe one of the former GMs here? Obviously it's so tough for them to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But just thinking about like how we can get, everyone involved who wants to be involved in the night. And it was down to, the skating was like a late add to it. It wasn't always going to be them skating out there. So it's like you're working on it and massaging it and thinking of new wrinkles to make it cool and exciting, right down to the last minute. And, I think that also goes to your question about like trying to reach, the wider NHL audience or other teams. Like, I think, the teams, I don't know if Montreal cared about that ceremony or not, but like they see the things that we do for players and former players and might say, I'm just speculating, but like we try to put on a good show and be, best in class. If it's Ryan Miller's banner raising, if it's, Rob Ray getting in the Hall of Fame, if it's RJ Knight a few years ago, we want other, players and other teams to look at it and go, wow, like the Sabres, like this is really cool. Look at the way they celebrate when a player has 1,000 games. Like, we might go a little more above and beyond than other franchises do. Our Hockey Fights Cancer Night is probably one of the tops in the league as far as the effort that we put into it and the spectacle that we make it. So, we're constantly meeting all the time about these theme nights. And I would say over the past couple of years, that's become even more of an emphasis to like, we really want to get these things right. These are our moments that, everyone, there's more eyeballs on us than ever that the fans are talking about, after the game. So let's do everything we can to like really nail these nights.
I love the pride, Michelle.
I mean, it's an emphasis and that goes to our
about it. Like you're excited.
That goes to our leadership.
It comes through.
Yeah. I mean, we love connecting with the fans. It's just, everything we do is hoping that, the fans will notice and respond and feel a greater buy-in to being part of this franchise. Like we really love the team. I love the team. I love the group that we have behind the scenes. And so when the team's was not having success on the ice, it's difficult because nobody sees like all the other, and like, you're like, this is so special. We want you to be part of this. And so the barrier was a little bit, when the on ice performance, and now, we'll see where the season goes, but like, it's so exciting right now and so great. And so I'm honestly excited for the fans to like finally be part of what we were already feeling behind the scenes, like how, like the special thing that we believe that we have here. So
absolutely, I'm excited for a party in the plaza. Can we bring that back, please?
I hope so. I hope so.
It's happening. If they make it,
memory right
will
there.
come. I'm telling you right now.
Our marketing department, I'm sure, is planning, something along those lines.
They're gonna do it anyway, Michelle.
You
don't have to do anything. Just make the playoffs. We will be there.
I did a party in the plaza back in 2007. That was a ton of fun when I was up visiting my parents because I didn't live here at the time. So I still have like the pom-pom somewhere in my boxes of, old office stuff, the stuff that used to be in my office at NFL Films. So it's so exciting to think about all the possibilities of making the playoffs. I mean, a bunch of us who are on the Sabres side got to experience when the Bills broke the drought. So, and that was like such a crazy, amazing experience. And so we're just like so ready to do it on the Sabres side and share that with the fans.
Absolutely.
I still tear up watching the video.
Speaking of the fans,
which video?
The video of the locker room. Locker room when they broke the drought.
Kyle Williams.
Oh my God, that was the best.
Eric
you see the look on Kyle's face, and he has his kids. He puts his kids over his head like as a trophy. It was the best.
Oh my gosh.
So we had a couple
thinking
fans
about that yesterday.
too.
Oh,
0506, just fans loving the skates. Also, too, I wanted to tell you, Montreal should never be the team that would be mad or think anything about pregame ceremonies because they have more than like any team, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. With all their history, it's always
they have pretty crazy. They have great game presentation up there. How did you? I missed the question because I'm looking at you guys instead of at these questions.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. No,
was I supposed to be answering them? Sorry.
No, it was more so people are just giving you props.
Yeah.
So we had somebody said,
question about the
Gallant said something. The Briere video, you nailed it. Kudos.
Oh, thank you.
Then we also talked about the skating. Instead of just walking out on the red carpet, the skating definitely. I thought that was amazing.
Oh, so our equipment manager provided the skates for the guys who were like flying in, and like we're not going to pack their own skates. So you'll see
they know their size. They still know their size.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's the same equipment staff as 20 years ago.
Right,
mostly
exactly.
the two main guys, except for Ripper, who's retired. But Yeah, so they they were sitting there, lacing up. It was really great. Our marketing VP had it all set where like they all had a chair like with their name labeled and their skates in front of them, because for these
Nice.
kind of things, like every second counts. So you have to make it as
Yeah.
easy and seamless as possible for these guys. Like, there you go find your name. And athletes are very good at following directions usually. So they're very coachable. So you just have to kind of let them know what you need them to do. And
You'd hope so.
It's easier when they're not like partying with each other first. So
Yeah.
like our players
Right,
getting ready for a
right.
game is a little easier because they're all sober and ready to go. But
Yeah.
it was they
Most
did
are
great.
under
and-
the drinking age anyway, which is nice.
yeah, some of them. Yeah. That's
This is actually this is a good one. So Gargalan says, can we do a behind the scenes feature on the Josh Doan new deal? I'm sure you had a camera in there today. Maybe?
I cannot confirm or deny.
Okay, fair
but
enough.
I would
That would
say
be cool. He's all the rage.
I don't know that we'll have anything specific on the deal, but Josh Doan is definitely a target of mine personally to get to know better, and now especially that we know he's going to be around long term to share with Sabres fans, and he's been awesome to work with so far. So hopefully more kid. Josh Doan to come for everybody, because he is great. And I think
he's like a
probably
sweet guy. Not
Seems
that
like
I've
a leader.
like
You can tell the apple didn't fall far.
And he grew up, obviously in the league, and just gets it. He understands the same stuff that we're talking about, the connection to the fans. He gets what to say. I'm not saying that he's not being genuine. I'm saying like he just gets what it's all about, I should say. So he's been an amazing addition to the team, and it's just cool to see him over the last 4 months. Basically, it feels like he's been here forever.
It does. Yeah, 100%. I would say I wouldn't ask you to comment on this because you probably can't, politically speaking, but I think that might have been a win of a trade for him in Kessler. Technically, you could probably comment on that if you wanted to. Now
we are enjoying our end of the trade very much. I'll say that.
There we go.
It's been, we love having those guys as part of the team.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. I did want to ask, I know I was really excited. We texted back and forth, and long time coming. We talked months back at the beginning of the season about having you come on. So it's been like highly anticipated. And I know you had let me know that there was like a big project coming on, and you alluded to it earlier. So we'd really be remiss to not talk about whatever you can about the recently announced, very exciting film chronicling the life, origins, and career, I would assume, of Sabre all-time great Dominic Hasek, a story of one of the most unique and influential goaltenders the sport has ever seen, at least in my lifetime. And I realize that comes with a lot of responsibility. So from the earliest project conversations to the final cut, you said you're kind of working on things now. What went into the planning, the production of this project, especially in terms of shaping the narrative, gaining access? I know there's a lot of talk about like his upbringing in Czech, I believe it was Czechoslovakia at the time, for Czech Republic. So making a film that resonates with both, again, the lifelong Sabres fans, NHL fans. He won a cup with Detroit, I think actually 2. So he's a very well thought of Hall of Fame type player. So how do you put like something like that together when you're trying to capture his legacy? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So aside from the highlights that you've seen of him, and aside from maybe thinking about things now that this documentary is coming, like what did you know about Dominic Hasek before he was a Buffalo Sabre, or before he was even a black and red, goat head Buffalo Sabre?
Carl might know more than me, but what I know is I grew up, the Sabres were my first love, over the Bills, actually. I don't know if many people echo that sentiment, but for me, it came down to and this is what it actually killed me when we lost RJ, because when RJ talked about like the kids listening to their Walkmans in bed, that really was me. I grew up didn't have cable, so I didn't have the luxury of even watching cable Sabres games, and Bills weren't on TV usually at that time. So I literally had, I believe it would have probably been WGR still at the time, or maybe it was 550. I'd had a Sony Walkman I got probably for like my, I don't know, 6th or 7th birthday, and I couldn't stay up and watch the games even if we had cable. So I would listen to Rick Jenneret's call on the game, and that really made me love just his voice and how he captured, just you could kind of see the game in your head just by listening to him, and more so than anything, you get excited by listening to it. So I knew Dominic Hasek. We traded for him in a trade that it was really a complete steal of a trade. We traded for him from the Blackhawks, I believe, for another goalie who didn't amount to much. And the guy pretty much single-handedly stood on his head for multiple years when we had really no offense to speak of. We were a very defensive-minded team. Was the best player on the planet for probably a good 3 to 5 year run. And then took us to the Cup in '99. There was the no goal situation. And then we ended up, unfortunately, moving him off, and then he won. But as far as like his upbringing and things and how he got into the sport, I mean, that's pretty much what I know. So
yeah, and I didn't know anything either, about him prior to. Like, I had no idea. And yeah. Even having met him and interviewed him previously, he was probably one of the first Sabres alums I met when I started, actually, 10 years ago. He was in town for whatever reason, and he was playing ping pong with one of my coworkers. He came in, and it was, and so I knew the lore, like you're saying, and obviously I watched, the playoff runs that he was involved in. I knew he went on to win with the Red Wings, but so basically 2 years ago, we found out that we were going to Prague. Not 2 years ago, I guess. Yeah, about 2 years ago now. We found out that they announced that the Sabres would play in Prague, start of last season.
That was the New Jersey, right? The 2 games.
That was the New Jersey series. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was, two Februarys ago, which is crazy to think it was 2 years ago already.
Yeah,
and then we found out that they have like media tours every summer. There's one in the North America and one in Europe. This one was the NHL does, I should say. This one was going to be in Prague. And so we were like, well, we've got some European players who will go. Maybe we could go do some behind the scenes stuff with them. Like, what else could we do in Prague, like before we actually go there to play the games, like to get ready for this global series? And then again, I'm going to give shout out to Jordan LaBarber, who in one of the planning meetings was like, yeah, well, let's do something with Dom. And I'm thinking, well, what are we going to do, with him while he's there? Like, what's the story there? And he's like, I just remember him saying how his dad made his first like catching glove, and that's what they definitely call it in Czech. They say catching instead of saving or anything. His first goalie glove, essentially, and how he like hand made it for him. Like, maybe we could have him like talk about that or something, and like see if his parents are there. And so it's sort of like from that conversation went into, okay, like what else could we do with him? Like, what would Dom be willing to do? And it turned out that he was like, yeah, let's go to my old hometown, Pardubice, which is like 90 minutes, 2 hours outside of Prague. And I'll show you guys around. And he was like, it was so funny because he was so adamant that we meet his teachers, not just his coaches, but he was like, I want you to meet some of my teachers. Cool. And like teachers from when he was a little boy, not like college professors like this. And like, he's, 60 years old, and like these teachers had such an impact on his life. And so it was like, just interesting to see like the things that were important to him, that you might not, I couldn't like, I guess plan out the story too much because I didn't know this story. So I had to have him show us around, and we had to find like, what is the story here? And the story turned out to be, he's growing up in this, Soviet controlled communist town in a time where you had to defect in order to play for the NHL. But he had this happy childhood living there because, their parents sheltered them from all that. And they went to a language school where they learned different languages. And we get to meet his, childhood best friend, Frank Musel, who played 15 years in NHL and is actually currently a Sabres scout. So I knew Frank already too. And, just talk about like their relationship growing up playing hockey in this little town, which is, everybody plays on the same hockey rink. So the 6-year-olds play on the same rink as the professional team in Extraliga plays on, everybody's in that one rink, and you go and you try out when you're 6, and then you get into the system. And they talked about, you go from locker room to locker room. So your big hope when you're like a teenager is, wow, the B team or the A team might call me up. They might need me. And like, you get to go from one locker room to the next. And like, just hearing their stories about how they grew up and the differences. And, even from probably growing up in the US or Canada in the 70s. And just the relationship that they still had with teachers, that they still get together and like text them and communicate with them. Like, people knew them.
That's less of like, or I mean, I'm sure it's partly Dominic, but it sounds like a very cultural experience that you just went through going there.
It was. And I was fascinated with the idea of like defecting, and, everyone knows the Alexander McGillney's story that's been told a couple of times. But the idea that you didn't have the freedom, once you were drafted, or to even understand what that meant and to make that choice to go. And like Frank and Dom took two very different paths. So Frankie Musel decided to defect in the mid 80s. They were both drafted in 1983. They discovered they were drafted while they were in France playing, for the Czech national team. And they read it in a magazine. I'm spoiler alert. I'm just giving all the details away, but like the story of them telling them, that's been out there. I mean, this wasn't like this.
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first, people. Yeah. But then talking about that and the different reactions that they had to it, and Frank deciding like, I want to take my chance. I want to see, the more I thought about what it would be like to play in the NHL, like I wanted that experience. And Dom felt more like I want to go to college and become a history professor maybe, and keep playing. I'm having fun here and I love my family. And, if you defect, you could not go back and your family could be punished for it. It was a huge risk to do. So I got fascinated with that whole aspect of it and like telling that part of the story. Wow. And then, had Hasek decided to come here, when he was 18, like right when he was drafted, when he was 18 or when he was 20, like how would that have made his career different? Would his stats have been better? Would he have been a starter sooner? Would he ever have ended up on the Sabres? Who knows? Like his whole career could have been different had he decided to, come over and not wait for, the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia. So,
I want to ask you guys both this. This is actually something that I forgot. It's probably my number one favorite thing and memory. Well, actually two things about Dominik Hasek. And I don't know, hopefully you covered this in the movie. So one, I always remember the MasterCard commercial where he did the spine for a slinky or slinky for a spine. Love that. But here's the other thing. At the height of his powers, I will remind you guys, Dominik Hasek with Robert Reichel and maybe one other NHL player won the Olympics. That's crazy if you think about it. That would never happen today. Like the fact that even happened is like insane. He was that.
And who did they beat in that Olympics? US, Canada, Russia.
Yeah.
Like the big three
ridiculous
power nations in hockey. Yeah.
I remember it was in the middle of the night. It was in the middle of the night.
Was, his teammate was
on
that
Schmelik.
team with him.
And then Robert Reichel, Schmelik, and Hasek. And I don't think there was like maybe any other NHL players. If there was like maybe one or two. But they literally took down. And I remember, I believe it was, I forget who they played, the semifinals before the championship game. It was that shootout game. And I think he beat Canada. Or whoever it was. He beat him in a shootout. It was 1-0. Like, it's insane. You couldn't beat the guy.
The man was a force.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the film, it explores his professional career for sure. But I think, the main part of it is just getting to know, how he grew up, how like I keep saying, like, where did the greatest hockey player or goalie, however you want to put it, but where did the greatest goalie in the world come from? Like, what makes him the way that he is? The crazy style that he had, like where, what influenced him to make him this way. So there's definitely a lot of aspects, especially of his Sabres career. Once he got to the Red Wings, we were like, yeah. That's not our story.
Not a great trade, Sabres. Thanks, Detroit. Immediately win the cup.
But yeah, I mean, you have to address the fact he did finally win the cup. But yeah, it was. But then he went back and won another cup with Pardubice, like and he was very passionate about that, about going home, and like that was. He's like, if I ever play again, this is the only team I want to play for. I want to play for my hometown team, and win another cup, and he did. So it's just a cool story. It's a unique story, I think. And it's been a passion project. It's been very difficult to produce it. Honestly, it's every day we're doing stuff for the current team. So it's like, that's why I'm up at night doing stuff, because you have to like fit it in. And that's why it's taken this long to put it out when we went there 18 months ago, but it's worth it.
Wow. So February 1st, I believe is the date, right?
February 1st, it will premiere. Yes. On Sabres YouTube and MSG and Sabres.com.
Is there a private showing ahead of time for?
There will be on Friday night. Yes.
Yes,
at Seneca 1. I think.
Oh, one. Okay. All right, I will come into town for that. I will fly into town.
I think there was a contest posted today to win 2 tickets. So Dom's going to be there. So it's cool. He's coming into town for the premiere, which is really fun. And then awesome. Mitch Korn, who was his goalie coach, his first goalie coach really ever in his life because he didn't have a goalie coach in Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia. He's with Nashville now, but he's going to come in for the premiere, which I'm really excited about.
That's
and
awesome.
Jerry Meehan, who made the trade, will be there. So it's cool. Some of the main players and Dom's, getting Dom to Buffalo in his career here and springboarding his NHL career will be there. So
cool. That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, it was cool to talk to all those people and get their perspectives. Mitch Korn, by the way, amazing interview. Amazing.
Okay.
Like if you watch the film and enjoy it, he'd be a great guest for a podcast because he's such a good interview. Yeah.
Korn.
I'm going to tell him that you said that we should have him on. That'll work.
I'm sure he's got some other goalies. I haven't looked at his whole career aside from Dom that he's coached that he would have some crazy stories about.
Oh, I have to tell you, more kudos for Michelle and team here. Besides the fly on the wall access you give, the actual production / editing, directing direction of the content is really top notch and super impressive.
Oh, that's really nice.
You got
Thank
fans. You do. You have a lot more fans than even just the ones we have on the show and ourselves, obviously. Before knowing you, I've been a big fan of all the embedded series. I mean, I think, and I'm not just saying this to gas you up, I think that the Sabres do the best job at like that behind like the draft series. Didn't they do you guys did the Jeff Skinner thing too, which I thought was hilarious. Behind two stalls.
The between two stalls. Yeah. So I didn't create between two stalls. So I did get to participate because I was still working Bills and Sabres when that first premiered. So was just not one of my pieces of content. I did get to produce the reunion episode for Jeff's 1000th game, which was really fun.
Nice.
But the geniuses behind all the Bills social media videos were also originally behind between two stalls. So props to Kevin and James on that.
Yeah. Well, I just think that
and Jeff himself too.
All the draft like type videos, I almost want to say, I'm not sure about this. Maybe you have additional insight. I feel like you and your team and like the Bills and the Sabres were like amongst the first teams to give that inside access of like the trade deadline and things like that. And I've seen other fans commenting on your YouTube saying like, wow, I wish my team did something like this. And for people that are like junkies, like Carl and I and my brother, Chris, it's like Christmas morning when we get a video like that to know like what it's like in the GM's office the day of the trade deadline, or like doing their scouting meeting for the draft. Like the one that we did with Owen Power. Like it's awesome.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I think about all the time, like I'm sitting in these meetings, hearing everything that they're saying and thinking about doing. And I'm like, man, there would be people who would kill to be in this position. And all I care about is like, what's the story? Like, I don't care what names they're saying. I don't especially NHL draft. I'm like, I don't know who any of these guys are. I'm like phonetically Googling.
3 years if
I was looking at like elite prospects and I'm like, which guy are they talking about?
Hey, if you're a consultant, I'd be happy to give you some insight.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think that's also probably what makes me probably good at what I do is that I don't care about like, there's no risk of me leaking like we're talking about so-and-so because I don't even know who that is. Not to say I don't know like anything about it, but like,
yeah, you're not going to get so excited. It's just
I'm not out there watching junior hockey and international hockey. I watch.
That's what we paid Chris Baker to do. Chris Baker
exactly. We work with Baker on that.
Videos.
And, yeah.
We need to have him on soon. He's really good.
Oh, I love Chris Baker. Yeah, we've worked with him. I just totally lost my train of thought. No, that's all good. I was just, it's fun to be part of it, but I don't know. I don't know why Chris Baker made me lose my train of thought. I got his face in my head, and Chris, you got me all flustered.
Damn it, Chris with the K. Oh, man.
It happens to the best of us. What are you gonna do?
I wanted to ask, how are you doing on time? Wanted to be mindful of your time. We're about 54 minutes in. We got 1,000 people watching live right now. So
seriously?
Shout out to all of you guys. Yeah.
Wow. Hi guys. 1,000 people.
Yeah, you're pretty popular. MGC's in the building.
Yeah. Do they know where I am right now? Does anybody recognize this background? No.
Stock.
Oh, is that what is that the HBO show?
It sure is.
Oh,
wife
My friend
is-
Todd put me up to it to do
My wife's obsessed with
the
that show.
cottage from Heated Rivalry I am sitting
Oh,
in
yeah,
right
that's what you
now.
said. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Heated rivalry. That's it.
Yeah.
Dude,
So,
my wife
big fan.
read the books like before it came out, and she was like telling me about it over the summer. She's like, "Oh, my one of my favorite books is like coming out," and now it's just like huge sensation, and she like loves it and like loves all the actors and everything. She's all about it. It's
So fun. I mean, the NHL commissioner is into it. He said he binged all 6 episodes in one night, which
Who
is
did?
insane
Roger
to
did?
me.
Mr. Rogers?
No, Bettman.
Batman.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it's an NFL.
Yeah, yeah.
Other
No. Yeah.
Other one.
Yeah.
Gary-
Yeah. I was like, that 6
Gary's
episodes in
a
one
Heated
night is
Rivalry
insane
fan.
for somebody with a full-time job. I don't know. I don't know if that's
just
a real
did-
fan right there.
I just binged 5 seasons of Stranger Things in the last like week and a half.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm above, but I assume that, people with that big of a job don't have,
Yeah.
what would that be? 5.5 hours or whatever of time to sit and do it all in one night, but hey, more power to him.
Yeah,
It's cool. I think it's cool that he commented
commented
on it and gave it a positive review. I just think it's important. So
Yeah.
it's a great show. I highly recommend.
Can we talk a little Bills with you? And then I have one Sabres question for you too.
But yeah, and
We have-
also
we have
be
time?
conscious of your time, obviously.
Yeah, no,
Cool.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. So it was
Once
it
you
was
get
a
me
very-
going, you can't shut
I
me
know.
up, so
I
let's-
know.
That's okay.
Yeah, we're on the train now. Yeah, it's moving too fast.
You would know my interviews are always notoriously way too long too. I'm like, I just need like 10
Oh.
minutes. It's never 10 minutes.
You don't have a problem here. Our sister pod, we go like 2:30 every Friday talking about sports betting, which is insane.
Oh yeah. Another
Yeah.
thing that I know nothing about, but I can't. I mean, I can't sports bet, but I don't know. Yeah,
Not many
no.
people
Not
can.
like
I'm
me.
not even gonna say that I
Against your
can.
contract?
Yeah,
That
you
makes sense.
can't work for a team and sports gamble.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
A lot of players, NBA players, are getting in trouble.
Getting in
NFL players getting in
trouble.
trouble.
Couldn't be me, Sean. I'm not gonna get in
No.
trouble for that. Yeah.
I know.
Not my
Evander
thing.
Kane's not on the team anymore, right?
I'm too cheap anyway. I don't want to gamble my money.
No.
Come on. Sports
No.
is too much of a I guess I could maybe bet on like sports I don't care about, which I think a lot of people do, like March
Yeah.
Madness or whatever. It's
Like
like, oh, I don't
college.
really
Yeah,
care.
I like college.
It's just
College
for
betting is
fun.
Yeah.
But like betting on a team where you care or a game where you care about the outcome, like what are you doing to
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah,
Oh my
Right.
God.
I'm the same with you, Michelle. I don't do too
Yeah.
much like sports gambling. And I'm like, I'm already enough of a fanatic. Like I'm so invested just like personally in the Bills and Sabres that I don't need it to be like a little bit more exciting, like here or there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. My whole emotional welfare is already riding on this.
Right.
exactly. Yeah, my personality changes like depending on the tides of the performance of any given team or any given night. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need to also think about all the things I can't afford now that the team lost. Shout out DraftKings.
Shout out DraftKings. Yeah, you know what? Hold on a second. That's actually a good segue there because you know what?
She just did it. She gave him
Well,
the
I gotta
plug.
say it. No, we have a word from our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Now we're doing Missouri listeners. Listen up, Missouri. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sports app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnerships with DraftKings, the crown is yours. So thank you, Michelle, for that nice little segue for DraftKings. I appreciate
It's what I
That
do.
was a pretty good.
Transitions and segues. That
was awesome. I'm not going to read the whole disclaimer. Chris, that's a Chris Mass thing. We're gonna program that in later because it's like a 3-minute long.
Yeah,
You know, like all the
splice that in
little
at 3x.
yeah, the
speed.
little that's what we should do is have it in like speed, quicker speed. But yeah, I did want to, Michelle, I want to talk just a little bit about the Bills. It's obviously been a pretty interesting week for the Bills. They had a big press conference today, but I thought, with the shocking news that Sean McDermott is let go, I think it really marks the end of an era. It reshaped the Buffalo Bills identity, the culture over the last decade. as we talked about earlier, he took the Bills to playoffs in 8 out of 9 years, and he won the AFC East division 5 straight times before this season. So from your perspective, how challenging is it going to be for, say, like the next head coach, whoever that may be, to deal with the pressure of essentially needing to potentially perform pretty quick? We're not going to say go to the Super Bowl, as Mr. Pagula alluded to earlier today, but really with Sean McDermott's stellar resume, how much pressure is it, and is it fair to have the type of pressure to produce immediately for a guy walking in the door?
I mean, these coaches are built for pressure. So I'm not worried about that at all. You're not bringing in somebody who can't handle pressure, and they thrive off of it. So I think, and you actually made me remember the thing that I was going to say earlier too. So thank you.
Yeah.
Tip of the hat to you on that, which is that I'm not someone who I'm a big, and again, this is coach speak, like a control what you can control kind of person as much as I can be. Maybe not always in my personal life or whatever, but I try to at work think of it that way. What are the things that I can control? And so draft is something, for example, that I don't get super, I don't throw myself into it, because I'm like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And we're all going to talk about this for months. And I know it's fun for people, and I don't begrudge people who love it. It's just not personally like I'm getting all tied up into it. And then we're going to draft somebody that either you've never heard of, the draft's going to go completely differently than everybody predicted. And then you're not going to know for years how it turns out anyway. So I'm like, let's just see what happens. Once we get our guy, he's our guy. I'm all in on the person and the fact that they're part of our organization. And, let's take it from there. So I feel the same way about a coaching change, a GM change, whatever. Like, they're going to bring somebody in. We can all, judge and say, oh, this is the wrong decision, the right decision. None of us know. None of us knew when Sean came in what was going to happen next. We had no idea that he was going to make the playoffs his first season. This coach could come in and win the Super Bowl. That would be amazing. I think we would all love that. This coach could come in and kind of pick up where Sean left off. We don't know. So rather than worry about it and assume the worst and think like all the things that could go wrong, what if we don't even make the playoffs next year? Like, to me, I'm just bring the person in and if Bills Mafia does anything, it's rally around our own and support people. And so I'm hoping that, once everyone gets out of their feels a little bit, and kind of, it's been an emotional few days for a lot of reasons. I mean, losing
it's raw right now. Yeah.
So raw.
Anytime you see, Josh Allen cry, Tre'Davious White, Deion Dawkins, like, it's gonna, and I love those guys. I really love those.
Makes
like,
me
as a fan, but like knowing them too, like it's painful. And so I think we're all a little, we're very emotional right now. I think, let's see what happens, and then, take it from there. So I don't want to, the new coach has to make the playoffs or has to win the Super Bowl next year. There's all this pressure. Like, let's just enjoy the ride. Let's see what happens next. Let's see how, this new coach and Bean work together, who they draft, and get excited about that person, rather than think about, what could go wrong, what could hold them back, what's, pressure and expectations. Like, I always think, like, obviously the goal is to win. And I've wanted a championship for the city for so long. Like, it's been my life's work in a way where I'm like trying to tell this story, right? Like, I haven't contributed on the field or on the ice, but like, God, I want to tell this story. And like, I'm more invested in other Bills fans being happy than myself being happy. Like, if we lost a game and everyone else is like, whatever, like, we played hard, we're good, then I'm good. But when I see everyone else get down, like, that's what affects me. Like, I want to keep everyone up and happy and like feeling like this is a positive thing. Sports are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be the distraction from all the other horrible things that are happening in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I guess that's my perspective on it is, like, let's enjoy the ride. Let's enjoy the wins. Celebrate every first down. Celebrate every goal. Celebrate, like, enjoy it while it lasts. And like, this Sabres heater, like, they're probably eventually going to lose a few games again. Maybe not. I mean,
maybe not.
Hopefully not.
Never
but and that's, it stinks when they lose, but like, that's why you celebrate every win and just enjoy those moments and enjoy that feeling when you are in the arena and like feeling the buzz of everyone around you, rather than thinking like so far down the road, like, oh, if we don't win, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, the fun of being a fan is those, I think, day to day, game to game little moments. So that's
a good attitude about
that's
it.
My soapbox spiel about
that.
A
little stoicism in there, a little Buffalo Bills fandom advice. I love it. I guess I'm
Chris
curious.
Could use that advice, couldn't he, Carl?
Yeah, I could use it too.
He's not as bad. He didn't have a meltdown this year after the Denver game. So
he might have.
Well, not to me. He knows I don't want to hear it. It's a game, Chris. It's just a game.
I just shut off from I put my phone on do not
Mute 'em?
disturb for like a full day.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
I'm curious actually on the coaching thing. Like obviously you said like these guys are built for pressure, and then they always, you hear people talk about the cultures of the room, and obviously like culture is kind of a broad term. I think of it as a spectrum and maybe like an extension of a guy's personality. Do you feel that? Like, does that kind of even maybe change your day to day if some of the leadership changes a little bit, and not in like a negative way, like, oh, or something or anything like that, but do you kind of like feel the different vibes, the different like personalities that are coming in and how that impacts the team?
Yeah.
But you're part of the team, like you're a part of the organization. So like, to what extent do you feel that?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like a different vibe from Rex Ryan to Sean McDermott, for example. Like that
Yeah.
was those are two very different people with different cultures, and I mean,
Not in
you
a
do
bad
feel
way.
it.
Like I'm not like digging
No,
for like the
no. I
yeah,
mean, it's just everybody comes in with their own philosophy, right?
Right.
And
Even like
like I said,
Yarmo too, just seems like a lot more just like serious than Kevin.
for sure.
Just from the outside looking in, it seems that way.
Yeah, I mean, he's European. He's just got a totally
Yeah.
different personality from Kevin, but still like a very nice, I mean, not that I know
Right.
him that well yet, but from the little bit that I've worked with him, he's been great. And yeah, I mean, you feel it, but I think every coach also comes in with their own like ways of like rallying everyone around them. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too specific on things. From things that are said inside organizations or whatever. But yeah, for sure, you feel when, in a general sense, if there's a different coach, a new leader, there's always a shift in some way.
Sure. Gotcha. Yeah, as with any company, like one CEO leaves, a new one comes in. Like there's going to be some trickle down feel and effect. I would assume somewhat similar in professional sports as well.
Right.
Yeah. But winning is winning. And so if the team is doing well, none of that other stuff matters really. So
yeah. I do want to get to a Sabres question quick and then we'll get you out of here. But I have one, I have to ask this because it was so profound on an impact on me. Four Falls of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Do you have any kind of like quick, cool story you could tell about that? I think for my money, I think it's I don't know if it's my favorite. It's either my first or second favorite 30 for 30. Besides Requiem for the Big East. So I'm a big Syracuse Orange basketball fan, but love Four Falls of Buffalo. Anything just kind of a cool anecdote you could tell us about the production of that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny not funny, but it's cool and interesting how much that has resonated with everybody. And when I think about like, to me, that feels so long ago. But like people still text me like, "Hey, Four Falls is on ESPN right now," and I'm like, "Wow!" Like, yeah, like I know you can watch it on, yeah. But it's like people will still be like, "Oh, it's on right now," in case you want to. I'm like, I haven't watched it since it first came out. Like, but other people like still watch it repeatedly, and it connects with them, which is just so cool. I would say like there's a couple of interesting stories coming from that. So. I was at NFL Films, obviously, when that went into production, and Ken Rogers, who's directed several 30 for 30s, but this was, I think, his second after Elway to Marino, at the time came into my office and said, we have a treatment. We're working with ESPN and doing another 30 for 30. It would be on the Bills' 4 Super Bowl runs. Like, we'd love to have you involved. Like I was kind of the Bills producer there, right? Like I did the Bills highlight film every year. I was the Bills fan. Everybody knew me as the Bills fan. And so he was like, I'd love your perspective on it. I'd love you to be part of it. And it was cool because, I hadn't worked on a project that big at the time. I was, I was a new mom. I was down to 3 days a week at NFL Films because I took some time to, raise my kids, and like to be asked to be part of that project, like really meant a lot to me. So the first thing that we did once everything was greenlit and we went into production was we had to rewatch Super Bowl 25, which I had been avoiding, of course. Anytime, like I remember my first year at NFL Film, someone in the office next to me was working on something with the kick, and it's like, here it is, the shot heard around the world. And I was like, oh my God, like I had to like close the door and like cover my ears because I didn't want to hear it. And so I had to sit on Ken Rogers' couch in his office and watch like the final drive of Super Bowl 25. And I was like visibly sweating and shaking. I was like, I don't want to do this, you guys. Like, this is torture for me.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the boogeyman of my childhood haunting my
Right.
dreams. Like, this is awful for me. And so that was like the emotional experience for me to have to do that. But you
Yeah, it
had
must
to
have
do
been
it.
a tough
Like,
project for you. Jeez.
I mean, but it was amazing because I got to meet all of those
Right.
guys and work with them
Yeah,
and interview them.
but also
and,
too, I gotta give you props, like to that point, like what Carl was saying, the counterpoint. Like that whole video celebrated how amazing that was, and it'll probably never be done again for a team to go to 4. So
Yeah.
it really was like a
and
hype.
that was what we sold, I think, the
Right.
guys on was
Yeah.
the fact that we're not here to do this to talk about like,
celebrated.
the Bills
Yeah.
lost the Super Bowls. It was like, you know, if somebody comes home with a silver medal from the Olympics, you celebrate them, right? It's like, you know, why is this the one thing? Like, if the second best team, they did it 4 times in a row, and how amazing this was, that you know, it's up for ridicule instead of being celebrated. So the whole kind of pitch to them was like, let's make this something to celebrate and to talk about, like, what an amazing feat it is. Yeah, reframe it. Exactly. And so the other part that, you know, just really sticks with me is Scott Norwood and getting him to agree to be interviewed, because he really hadn't done very many interviews at all since he retired and left the NFL. And you know, then becoming friends with him and being someone that he, like, you know, he's told me, like, you know, you're someone that I trust. And he actually signed something from once that said, like, thanks for always having my back. Like,
Nice.
from the moment I convinced him to do the interview, to sitting down with him through the whole post-production, to, you know, 10, 12 years later and whatever it is now, you know, we've remained friends and talking, and he just always really appreciated the way that the film turned out. And like, that means so much to me that, you know, I convinced him to do it and talked him into it. And not just me, Bruce DeHaven was the one who initially got him to finally take my call.
Was he was special teams?
Bruce DeHaven was special teams coach. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I interviewed him. I was trying to get Scott. NFL Films was trying to get Scott, and then they thought, why don't you reach out to him directly as like the Bills fan who's on this project, to try to like convince him that we're doing this, you know, for the love of Buffalo. And I couldn't get it on me back. What's that?
You're the one for the job.
Yeah, I guess. And I interviewed Bruce DeHaven when he was with the Panthers, and he was like, you know, this is really great. Like, I can tell you're very genuine. Like, I'll call Scott for you if you want, and give him your number and let him know that it's okay to call you back. And he did. And sure enough, like a few weeks later, Scott called me, and I had a 2-year-old at the time who was chasing me around the house. Like, she was like following me, and it was like a really like a bad connection. It was like before it was like the first, you know, iPhone that I had, like iPhone 4. And I'm like running around my house trying to get a good signal so I could hear him and talk to him, because I didn't want to miss this call. And I'm like but I'm home with my kids at the time. It was like a crazy situation. And, you know, we set up the interview and talked to him for a couple hours about, you know, the worst moments of his professional life. And, you know, and kind of like went deep with him, and then brought him to City Hall with Bruce DeHaven for that scene where they talk about, you know, the rally after Super Bowl 25 and what that meant to him. And so, so it's cool. Like, he was in town. He always hits me up actually in February for Sabres tickets. When he comes to town, and I love doing that for him. But last year, he took my husband and me and a couple other people out to dinner when he was in town, and it's just always cool to see him and to catch up with him. So sorry for rambling about that, but
no, that's a good ramble.
That's great. Yeah. We had to ask you about that, and I have really one more question for you. We have to obviously end talking about the Sabres this year, and it's funny and ironic. I want to show my phone, but I showed you before. It's probably not going to work. You can see that I see
text messages. Yeah, okay. I can't see what they say, but
I'm assuming my buddy PK. He just texts me and goes, because I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, so it doesn't ring. He goes, "You on pod?" ? And then he goes, "Difficult stretch of a schedule for Sabres coming up, but they're holding up well." So that goes into my last question for you. Often the main topic of this podcast, we started as a Sabres podcast, and then obviously just kind of rolled with the Bills as well, because I think most people that watch our show generally are fans of both teams. But we're a little more than halfway into the season. We're coming close to the Olympic break. We have multiple players going. Tage for the U.S. UPL looking like he may actually get some playing time in goal, which is, I think, a pleasant surprise. Dahlin, obviously, for Sweden. I think that's it, right? Am I missing anybody?
Yep, that's the 3.
Okay. So this year, Things feel different. I don't know if, I mean, I'm just obviously off the ice in terms of the camaraderie. The 05-06 guys all kind of alluded to that quite a bit. They see the parallels and the synergies of the tight-knit group that they had. And I'm just, I guess, talking more on the ice. Injury to Josh Norris, who's been fantastic and everything we could have asked for when healthy, coming back in the Dylan Cousins trade. This team seems to be bought into Lindy Ruff's system. They're playing amazing team defense. They're getting timely scoring. The penalty kill is elite. To be kind of like a sustainable playoff style of hockey, for my 2 cents. And then, oh, by the way, in the last stretch here that I believe we've won 17 of 19, we're scoring 5 goals almost every single game for the last 10 games in a row, which doesn't hurt. And we're winning close games and closing games out, which are things that we haven't been able to do. So long-winded question, Michelle, MGZ. Are the Sabres making the playoffs this year?
It feels like it. I don't know. Yeah.
It does. It does feel like
it. Yeah. I think the Sabres are going to make the playoffs every year, though. So I'm the worst person to ask. I thought the Bills were going to break the drought every year. I am. Yeah, I am team like positivity and hopefulness and naivete, and whatever. But I mean, the East is tough, right? The East is so hard this year. Yeah. But I mean, the vibes are so good right now. I'm riding the vibes. Yes. I
keep them going. Do everything you can.
Why not dream? Why not dream big? Like, why should
office?
Going back to what I said earlier, like why not dream big and be positive? Like, why be like, I don't know, they might not make it. Like, whatever. Right. Today,
win the division. Go win the division.
We're gonna, exactly. Let's go make the playoffs. Like, why limit ourselves and say, well, they might.
Let's make a run. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go. Why not? Why not?
Great goaltending too, by the way. Just from the whole trio. I mean, the young guy. How about this? I haven't talked to you about this. How about I've deemed them the new kid line last night.
Well, so did I. So I don't know if I can.
You probably did it first.
You deemed it first.
Multiple people, I think, were saying that. So.
Oh my gosh, Hellenius with 3 points last night. Second game.
We realized we've been pronouncing his name wrong. Well, he didn't change it, but we'd all been pronouncing it incorrectly, apparently. Okay. So, yeah,
that line looks great. You got 3 kids under the age of 21, I believe.
Yes.
Is Osland?
I think Osland's 21.
Osland is 20. Yeah.
And Benson.
They were the year before Benson, so he would be 21, and Benson will be 21 this year. So. Yeah,
I don't know. Things feel good about this team. And
I love Benson, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What was it? Thompson was talking to Biz about.
Did you see that? Yeah.
I saw a brief clip. I didn't listen to the whole pod.
Watch the whole thing?
It seemed pretty funny.
Yeah, he took us to his traveling carnival this summer. So
he did?
Did he?
Yes. That was an episode of Embedded. Yeah.
I didn't watch that one. By the way, Osland is 21, so we have 121.
Yeah, I was gonna say Osland's the year before Benson. So 21, 20, and 19, I think.
Benson's a hockey player. That's like the best compliment you could give like a guy. He's just a hockey player. It doesn't matter how small he is. I watch him night after night just go into the corners and like beat much bigger players and physical defensemen for pucks and make plays and go and scrap with guys. Like he just doesn't. He has no fear. That's how you have to be when you're size.
If you want to talk about the optimism and all this stuff, like Michelle, like that guy feels like he's just consistent and steady Eddie. Like nothing really can get him down. Just like ready to go in there and just do everything at all times. Like I'm sure there's plenty of guys that kind of like get off kilter a little bit, maybe like bad day at home or something like that. Their dog got sick, but this kid seems like he's just always in a good mood.
Oh yeah, he's always awesome. Smiling. I think he was raised well. Not to say that anyone who isn't always in a good mood wasn't raised well, but if you meet his family, like they're like the nicest, coolest people, and they have such a unique story. And he's so and cool. like you said, he's like a rink rat. He's hockey is life. It's just. I don't know. I love that kind of stuff where somebody has like a super unique upbringing. I just find that so interesting to like, Epic, is another example. Like, I just love learning about people and like what makes them tick and where they come from and
Yeah.
meeting their grandparents. I love grandparents. I'm big with grandparents. Austin Knox's grandma, wonderful woman.
Oh my
Still
goodness.
keep in touch with her. Like she's awesome too. Big on the grandparents.
Love that.
So
good stock, as they say. Come from good stock,
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, we really appreciate you, Michelle, for coming on. We know you're tired. I'm also tired, but we have 1,100 people that have been tuning in live.
Wow.
And so we obviously want to thank them for tuning in. Give yourself a quick
Sure.
plug. We obviously talked a bit about the Hatchick premiere February 1st. But if you have anything else you want to plug, your socials, anything like that, let people know where they can find you and what you have coming down the pike.
Yeah, I'm not super on socials. I've been like dabbling back into X or Twitter, I guess, again recently, mostly because I'm excited about projects that we're working on and I do want to share them. But at ShellGZ on X and Blue Sky, I'm on actually more. And then February 1st is when Always the Goalie drops. Dominic Hasek, Always the Goalie, and then we've got some other exciting projects that don't have firm dates yet. But if you follow Sabres social media, you will learn all about them. So for sure, keep following.
Awesome. Mr. Carl, you got anything before we jump off for the evening?
Go Sabres.
Go Sabres. I believe we're back in action.
Let's go Buffalo.
Yeah, let's go Buffalo.
Right? Sabres back in action tomorrow?
Back in action tomorrow in Montreal. Rematch from a week ago.
This year. 0-4 last year. I think they caught us the first time, but we got them on 0506 night. So this is a chance.
That was a huge game. What a performance that was that night. Oh my gosh,
that was fantastic. Sure. But yeah, we need to win these division games. It's big. So hopefully we get another dub.
But we just had our second back-to-back in a week. Like we got a lot of this. The schedule is brutal.
Condensed schedule. Yeah, no kidding.
I'm proud of these guys for battling through.
Absolutely. All right.
Go Sabres.
Thank you. Go Sabres.
Guys, this is really fun.
Yeah, that was fun, Michelle. Thanks so much. That was awesome.
You got it. All right.